Hello, beloved. I want to thank you so much for coming back to my channel today. If today is your first time, I do want to welcome you. On today's episode, we will be taking it step by step as usual. I hope that you will enjoy the making today. May God richly bless you and remember that life without Jesus Christ is lifeless. Until next time, please keep watching. Today's episode, we will be making my meat pie recipe. Now, this is how I make my meat pie, and I'm going to show you the ingredients. So I know some of you will leave comments like, okay, so this is not the right way of making meat pie. Everybody have their own way of cooking. Cooking is an art. You watch different channels and you pick and choose whichever method that is suitable for you. Okay? So if you watch my meat pie video and this is what is suitable for you, you can use that. If you watch other people's videos and that is what is suitable for you, please go ahead and use that. But please do not criticize because we all have our own way of cooking. Now, without further much ado, let me go ahead and show you the ingredients which we'll be needing. So to make my meat pie filling, I'm going to use my ground beef. Also, I add my pork sausage to the ground beef. I combine the two. We are going to need our black pepper. For the seasoning, I have two Maggie cube stocks and my beef bouillon seasoning. Also, we are going to need our cooked diced potatoes. Okay? And for the crust, I have 4 cups of all-purpose flour. We are going to add our cold salted butter. We are going to need our ice water, baking powder, and finally, my salt. If you are interested, please stay tuned and take it step by step. Once again, I want to thank you so much for coming by. Do not forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you should have any questions at all. May God richly bless you. Until next time, remember that life without Jesus Christ is lifeless. And please keep watching. So the first thing we are going to do is to start seasoning our meat. Okay? Use your nice clean hands to mix the pork sausage with the ground beef. Mix it very well. So what I'm going to do now is to add my seasoning. The Maggie cube and the beef bouillon seasoning. And then my black pepper. And mix it thoroughly. Make sure that the seasoning is well combined with the meat, the ground beef, and the pork sausage. Okay, so next we are going to put this in the refrigerator for the seasoning to really infuse with the meat. And then I'm going to start making the meat pie crust. And the reason why we want to move on making the crust is because we will refrigerate the crust whilst we are making the meat pie filling. Okay, so the crust can get really moist and rich when we make the meat pie. Please keep watching. So in making our crust, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of our baking powder. I'm also going to add a teaspoon of salt because I'm using salted butter. And use your nice clean hands to mix everything. We are going to use our hands to do the mixing. Mix it very thoroughly into the flour. And next, I'm going to add my cold butter. I have diced it into cubes to make it much easier to mix it with the flour. Here I'm using 3 sticks of cold butter. You can choose to reduce the amount if you want. If you want your crust to be really rich, the more grease you add into the crust, the richer it becomes. So that would depend on you, how you want your crust to be. But I want mine to be rich in texture. So that's why I'm adding 3 sticks. You can reduce it if you like. So mix the butter very thoroughly into the crust. So in creating our crust, we are going to add little bits of the ice water. Very little. The point is this, you don't want your crust to be too soggy or too watery. You want the consistency to be just right. You want it to come together so you can hold it into a ball. See the way it's coming together? That is what you are looking for. It should be able to come together. So when you are rolling it, the crust will be very rich and it will not fall apart. So that is what you want. So something like this is what you want. So here is our molded crust or dough for the meat pie, and I'm just going to store it in the refrigerator till the filling is ready and cooled, and then we will start rolling the meat pie. Please keep watching. So here I have taken out our mixed pork and ground beef for the meat pie filling, and I'm going to have my oven on medium heat. We are going to start making our meat pie filling, okay? So let's have it start to simmer, and then we'll add the additional ingredients. By the way, when I was introducing the filling, I forgot to let you all know that this diced jalapenos and onions will be part of the filling. So keep watching as I continue to make the meat pie filling. So as you can see, our ground meat is cooking beautifully. Make sure you kind of stir it to prevent it from clogging together, okay? Because if you don't stir it, it will clog together. You want to make sure that it's all separated nicely. So what I'm going to add now will be our diced jalapenos and onions, and then I'm going to mix everything in here, okay? Mix in your vegetable very nicely. Okay, beloved, so we are back. We are about to roll our meat pie. But before we go ahead and do that, let me show you the things you're going to need to roll your meat pie. So here I have my rolling pin. I also have my chopping board. I have some flour. Also, we are going to need our egg, and I added a little bit of milk. I'm going to mix it together to seal the meat pie dough. Also, this is our refrigerated meat pie dough or crust, okay? So after I finished cooking my meat pie filling, it was very hot and I have to refrigerate it. And now you can see that it's perfectly cool, and we can go ahead and start working on it. Also here I have my baking sheet, and I'm going to use this non-sticking spray to spray on there. We are going to need our fork to press down the meat pie tips to create the pie. We are also going to need our spoon to scoop our filling. We are going to need the brush to brush the egg wash on top of it, and also we are going to need our knife to do the cutting of the meat pie dough or crust. So please stay tuned as we continue to roll our meat pie. So the first thing we are going to do is to roll out our dough. Now, after putting a little bit of flour on our cutting board, you can set your dough on there. See how soft it is? The gluten in the dough has really relaxed. Typically when you prepare your dough and you leave it to rest, that's what happens. The gluten in the flour becomes completely relaxed. So we are going to use our rolling pin to flatten out the dough, okay? And what we are simply doing is to make sure that we can cut our dough to whatever shapes that we like. Some people like to go for the round shapes, others go for the square shape. For me, I'm going to go with the square shape. After you have rolled it out, what I do is to cut all the excess dough around the shape that I don't need and set it aside and add it to my next batch. Okay, so this is perfect for me. So I have divided my flattened dough into two. I'm putting the filling in there. Because I refrigerated the filling, the grease has really solidified. If it was hot, it wouldn't be this way. But there's nothing wrong with it. Once it's baked, it's gonna come together very nicely and beautifully. Okay? Make sure that you're not putting so much of the filling inside the flattened dough because you don't want it to be sticking outside. Just enough, okay? Okay, so next what we are going to do is to use our egg wash and rub it around the tips of our flattened dough to seal it. This is what is going to help the dough to be sealed and keep our filling in there for us so it doesn't come apart when we bake it. So next we are going to fold the tips together. Because the dough is really soft, nicely soft, you can just press the edges like that and it will just automatically close, okay? So this is perfect. Now we are going to use our fork to completely seal the edges, just like that. Use the tip of the fork to poke holes in the middle of the dough, just like that. And now you are going to use your egg wash to rub a little bit over here on top of it. So this is how I make my meat pie. Give it a try and you see how tasty or how delicious it is. So it should look like that. And you can set it on your baking sheet. So I'm going to do another one. Remember that we all have a little bit chef in us. Okay? And cooking is about creativity. Cooking is really an art of creativity. So when you pick up ingredients, you can choose and create whatever recipe of your choice. There is no wrong or right way of cooking. It's completely up to you how you want your dish or your food to be. And bring the creativity out of you, okay? By giving as many recipes a try as possible. And as time goes on, you will perfect yourself and you become your own perfect chef. So I'm encouraging you to try as many recipes as possible. So this is our perfect meat pie. Please keep watching as I finish making all the meat pie, and then I'll show you the final result before we put it in the oven. And I have my oven at 320 degrees Fahrenheit, and we are going to bake it until it's golden. So now the meat pie is about to go inside the oven, and I'm going to bake it until it's golden brown. So this is the finishing result. So finally, when it's baked, I'm going to show you how it's looking like, okay? Please keep watching as I finish baking it. Hello beloved, so this is our meat pie. It's ready. I baked it for about 30 minutes. I want to thank you all so much for staying tuned and learning how to make my meat pie recipe. Should you have any questions, do not forget to leave them down below for me and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. They are absolutely delicious. I'll go ahead and cut one into two so you have an idea what is going on inside the pie, okay? May God richly bless you. So let's go ahead and cut this one into two and let's see what is going on in the inside. The crust is so rich, so flaky and so rich. It's absolutely delicious. Please give this recipe a try, okay? And you will not regret it. Meat pie recipe. Till next time, happy cooking. May God bless you. Bye bye. Enjoy.